What is the inertia that you find when you try to reach these goals? Why isn't it that firms aren't trying to seek 50% diversity at all these portfolio companies here?
Well, I think as we think about it for KKR, thank you so much for having me. It's a focus on ensuring that our portfolio company board diversity is a real strength for the firm, recognizing that innovation and creativity, financial performance are a result. And I think for KKR, as we work towards the goal of having 30% of our directors being diverse, it was an important milestone for us to really be quite intentional and quite focused on each and every one for the Americas portfolio companies in the United States.
So, Bola, when you sort of put this mandate out there for your investments, for your portfolio companies, I should say, is there sort of any concern there at KKR that if other investment firms don't also follow your lead and implement similar measures, that could put you guys at a disadvantage with regard to deal making?
I think for the firm, as we think about diversity and inclusion, we know that it enhances performance, and we know that it will make our companies much better. We know that it will enhance what we do and how we invest. So as an organization, we're really focused on our firm specifically and focusing on our inclusion and diversity efforts as that's really the intention as we continue to evolve our efforts within the firm more broadly.
Bola, of course, diversity has many guises, whether or not we talk about your sexual orientation, your sex, your ethnicity, whether you're able-bodied or not. Talk to us about where you think needs more focus right now. Where are you able quite easily to add to a board of directors, and where needs more work to ensure that it's truly diverse across every type of board width?
Well, I think for KKR, as we think about diversity, we have a focus on gender and underrepresented minorities. And there's a real emphasis and intentionality for us around our portfolio companies to continue to enhance the underrepresented minority diversity for our portfolio company firms. And we think that there's great value and real opportunity in continuing to improve that effort.
Bola, there's a few ways that KKR and some of your peers are looking at this issue. One is by adding more board members to portfolio companies. Another one is through hiring. I know you've told me that you've been working with a lot of historically black colleges to bring more people into your firm. What are some of the challenges there? I mean, historically, the private equity industry has been very white. Is there any challenge in particular about making sure that there's a greater pipeline of people coming from the black community into KKR?
Well, I think for the firm, we recognize that we have a lot of work to do. There's more to be done. And when we think about hiring talent, there's an understanding that access plus awareness really equals opportunity. And so for us in hiring talent, it's about creating a greater ecosystem for that access and awareness. And that's translated to partnering closely with Howard, engaging professors and career services to really allow us to educate, pipeline, and draw in talent that we know is quite strong and will be impactful within our organization. It also has meant partnering with platforms like Handshake, which allows us to identify talent based on majors and concentrations to create that breadth of both ethnic diversity, but also university diversity. And I think for us, that strategy this year really allowed us to access students from Brigham Young University and Michigan and Notre Dame, and universities may not typically be our pipeline, but are important in terms of our future efforts and driving diversity.
And speaking of pipeline, let's talk about the top also. I mean, there are still a lot of men at the top of KKR. It's still predominantly white. What are you doing to make sure that there are more people at the top of the firm that are more diverse?
I think that's a great question. We also understand that you can't just start with the more junior levels of your organization. You have to focus on both those mid-level and those senior level positions. It's not easy. It takes time. I do think our summer MBA program is a great example of trying to pipeline talent within the mid-levels of our organization. So there's less of a gap in terms of time for those individuals to grow to be senior leaders. And then I think our leadership, Henry Kravitz and George Roberts, are very focused on bringing in diverse leaders at the MD and partner level. And just in my short time, I've seen us hire diversity into our MD levels within the organization, perhaps differently than we did in the past, because we know that we want to show progress.